All right. To find the equation of a line, you use different methods depending on what you have. Let's start here. All right. If we have slope, which is m, and a ordered pair. All right. Which is a point. All right. All right. If you have a slope and an ordered pair or a point, we're going to using y equals mx plus b. Let's keep using that. Using y equals mx plus b. The first thing we're going to do is to find the y-intercept. All right? Find the y-intercept. In other words, we're going to find b. And finding b is a set of steps that we have to do. It's about 3. All right. So step 1, we're going to plug in the slope. Plug in the slope. All right. To our y equals mx plus b. And plug in the x and y coordinates to y equals mx plus b. All right. So remember, our slope is our m, and our x and y coordinates would be x and y that we plug in, that we substitute here. So we have all numbers, equal signs, and we have b. Okay. Then that will help us get, once we plug that in, step 2 would be isolate b. Isolate b, which is your y-intercept. There we go. Isolate the b. All right, so after you do that, you found the y-intercept. Then the last part is to end this, plug in the slope. So go back to the beginning, plug in the slope for m and b, because you just found it, which is that y-intercept. And that'll be your equation of a line. Let's try it out. So the problem will go like this. It'll say a line with a slope of 3, find the equation of a line that has a slope of 3 that passes through 0.46 for -6. Oh, wow. There it is. All right. Find the equation of a line that has a slope of 3 and passes through the point 4, -6. Let's go through. All right. It says first, we're going to find the y-intercept. So using using y equals mx plus b. Let's go ahead and do that. The more you write, the more you memorize it. So we have y equals mx plus b. And it says plug in a slope, and the plug in the slope we have and the x and y coordinates into our y equals mx plus b. So remember, our slope is our m. All right. So here we go. So I'll just write it above it to get myself ready. So slope is 3. All right. And then if you look at my points, you have coordinates. You have the first one is the x coordinate, and the second one is your y coordinate. So where x is, we plug that in, and we get 4 here, but that looks like 34. That means there has to be something between them. Mx means m times x, so you need a parenthesis here. All right. Now, we have -6 for our y. So where y is, we plug in -6. Our new equation is -6 is equal to 3 times 4 plus b. All right. Now, the next part of this says isolate the b. Isolate that y-intercept. All right. So the way we isolate b is, well, before you can move anything, if you have adding, subtracting, multiplication, or division, you have to do that first. So I got 3 times 4. So let's get that. 3 times 4 is 12. So we have -6 is equal to 12 plus b. Now we can move some stuff. So because we are trying to move everything away from b, we need to move this positive 12. And we're going to move a constant term by adding the opposite. So the opposite of 12 is -12. All right. And we end with -18 is equal to the 12s cancel out, and we have b. All right. So now that we have the b, we have found the y-intercept. All right. The last step is plug in the slope and the b into y equals mx plus b. All right. So our answer is y. The slope is 3. So right there, right? So 3x. All right, remember, we're using y equals mx plus b. So y equals, our slope was 3x. And what's our slope? -18. I mean, our y-intercept, -18. So you just say -18. That is the equation of the line. All right. That has a slope of 3 and passes through point 4, -6. All right. Let's do it again. All right. Let's say we have another problem. We have problem, let's say we have B. It's going to say find the equation of a line that has a slope of -7 that passes through points 2, -3. All right. So let's go through. First thing we need to do, if we already have our slope and at least one point, we have to use our slope-intercept form. So we have y equals mx plus b. All right. Then it says plug in the slope and plug in the x and y coordinates into y equals mx plus b. All right. So just right above it. Our y, what's our y? All right. -3. So -3 equal, what's our slope? I guess I could do it under here. Let's do it under. Then we'll have to write it so many times. So our y is -3 equal, what's our slope? -7. All right, because that's our slope, so our m. What's our x? Our x coordinate is 2. So 7 and a 2 looks like 72. So go ahead and put that in parentheses so you know that's 7 times 2. -7 times 2. and we say plus b. We don't have the y-intercept yet. Then we go on and say -3. We can't move anything because -7 times 2 is -14 plus b. And then we have to get our b by itself, or our y-intercept by itself, by moving the -14. Since it's a constant term, we add its opposite. And we end up with 11 is equal to the 14's cancel, b. So now we plug our y-intercept, all right, our y-intercept back into our problem along with our slope. So we have y is equal to, what's our slope? Right here, right? -7x. And since it's positive 11, you say plus 11. All right, not bad, right? All right, let's keep going. On this particular page, when you write the equation and you have a slope and 1 point, any 4 is fine. Any 4 is. Now, let's move a little further. It says, well, what if we don't have a slope? We only have 2 points. All right. So let's put that down. If we have 2 points, when I say points, I mean ordered pairs. All right. If you have 2 sets of points or 2 ordered pairs, I don't know what that looks like. Quartered pairs. All right. First thing that we do is find the slope. Find the slope. How do we find the slope? Remember, we find the slope with y sub 2 minus y sub 1, because we got 2 points, over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. That's how we find our slope. All right. Then step 2 is to use the slope in one of those points to find the y-intercept. All right. Find the y-intercept. This is what we're trying to find b. We just did that. So once you get a point, once you get the slope, use any one of those points to find the y-intercept. I'll go over that again really quickly. The first thing we do to find the y-intercept is we plug in the slope and x and y coordinates to y equals mx plus b. All right. So after you get the slope, you take one of your points, any one you want to use, and plug that in to y equals mx plus b. And the next thing we did was subpart B is we isolated. I was going to say solve for B, but I'll keep with it. Isolate B, which is your y-intercept. All right. Then the last thing you do which is step 3. Plug in slope and your y-intercept into y equals mx plus b. All right. So it's like you join the steps from the last one with the stuff we learned on the other day. All right, let's do it. So it says write the equation given two sets of points. And those 2 points that they gave us are 6, 7, 6, -7, and 3, -1. All right. So the first thing that we do is find the slope. So let's go back and label. All right, because this is point 1. Because this is our point 1, we have x and y. But because it's point 1, we say x of 1, y of 1. And then because this is point 2, we say x and y, but we have to say y x of 2 and y sub 2. All right, let's plug it in. Y sub 2, all right, is -1. Y sub 1 minus -7. And then x sub 2 is 3. The minus is still in the problem. And x of 1 is 6. So we got to get our slope. -1 minus -7. Remember, anytime you got 2 dashes, they cancel out, just change to a plus. That's -1 plus 7. That's 6. Then we have 3 minus 6 is -3. Our 6 divided by -3 is -3. Our slope is -3. That is our m. All right, so we got a slope now. The next thing we do is find the y-intercept. Now, we use that slope that we just got and one of these points. Any one will work. All right, so we go back to y equals mx plus b. Our slope is -3. And let's pick this point right here. I just did it because I had smaller numbers. All right, let's pick this point here. All right, so we say 3. And x for that point is also 3. But that looks like -33, so you make sure you put that parenthesis. All right, and the plus b come down. We don't know b, but we have a y. Our y is what? -1. All right. We can't start moving stuff because we have -3 times -3 times 3, which is -9. Bring down the b, -1. All right, now we get b by itself because we got to move that constant term away from the b. That's a -9, so we add 9 to both sides. And we end up with 8 is equal to the 9's cancel, b. So we have our slope. All right. Now we plug that in. We got our, we have our y-intercept. So since we have our slope and our y-intercept, we plug that back in to this formula. We just keep using it. So the equation of a line is y is still in the problem equals, this time our slope is -3. There it is. X is still in the problem. And because that's a positive 8, we say plus 8. All right. That's the equation of a line that goes to those 2 points. Now, on the next sheet you'll get for writing the equation of a line when you have 2 sets of points, any 4. So that's 8 problems at all I'm requiring. You're open to practice the rest of them. At the very least, get all your notes down. And we can practice on Wednesday. All right? Don't forget to submit by the deadline.